Hey y'all, Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates, and today we are going to talk about the slowdown in Seattle real estate. If you've been following the news here recently or following along with this channel over the past few months, you would know that things are changing in the real estate market. And after one of the hottest two-year stretches, maybe the hottest two-year stretch we've ever seen in the Seattle real estate market, we're starting to see things slowing down. And that's the term that's out there in the news. There are some channels completely dedicated to the housing crash of 2022 slowdown. And I think almost every single person's using the same title right now. So that's not my intention here. But what I want to talk about is how things are changing in the Seattle market, bring a little value to the conversation here, and talk about maybe a few opportunities for buyers as we're entering into the rest of the summer and into the fall of 2022. One of the big driving factors here over the past few months as we've seen the market shifting and slowing down is the increase in the mortgage interest rates. And that has, in a previous video, I showed a 3.5% rate to a 6.5% rate, just under $1,500 a month more on $1 million mortgage. You could about half that for a $500,000 mortgage, although there aren't very many of those here in the area, but still, that's quite a bit more expensive for most people, and it does impact what they're looking at and considering. So as we've been seeing the market changing, as I've been looking at the most recent stats from the multiple listing service over the last 7 days, we've had 912 new listings in King and Snohomish County combined. We've had 875 price reductions. 912 new listings, 875 price reductions. I was reading an article and it looked like it was drawing maybe from some Redfin stats showing about 50% of listings were seeing price reductions in Seattle, one of the top in the whole entire nation. Tacoma was also on that list, which is usually included in the metro area, and it was right around that 50% mark too. So some of these might be houses having their second price reduction, third price reduction, but the interesting thing that I think is important for buyers to know is that we also had 43 contingent contracts. 43 over the last 7 days. And I think I saw a few the last few weeks, but we're starting to see a larger number of contingent purchases, which means that a buyer needs to sell their house before they qualify for the purchase of the new one. And in a really hot market, that's not an option. It is, but sellers are choosing between which offer they want to take, and traditionally they're going to accept an offer that's not contingent on the purchase of a home. So right now, 43 houses in the last week in King and Snohomish County combined, contingent purchases. So somebody, this might be the first opportunity, somebody who is thinking about a purchase, maybe they want to upgrade their house, but they needed to sell, maybe you need to sell your other house before you upgrade. There's an opportunity right now. If a house is sitting on the market for 3 or 4 weeks, sellers are a lot less picky. And if they can get an offer contingent, they are a lot more likely to accept it. Now, of course, you need to sell your house still, right, in the same market. So I think there's lots of conversations around what that might look like and how to make that happen. I think one of those first opportunities is that move up purchase with a contingency on selling your house. I think the other opportunity here is a house for less. I think over the past few months, we've started to see home prices dropping, and I mentioned the price reductions, 875 price reductions and 912 new listings. That's a lot, right? Looking at that, it's like almost every house is having a price reduction. Now, some of those are having their second one, so that's not true. And some houses statistically are still selling over asking price, depending on where they're at in the county and what type of house they are and how desirable the location. But when we look at the data, we're seeing houses in neighborhoods that were previously selling for maybe 10, 15% more with those multiple offer bumps, and those houses are now selling for what they were being listed for originally back in January and February. So if you're somebody who maybe didn't make a purchase earlier in the year or in the fall, and we saw prices just climbing like crazy into the spring, right now that multiple offer frenzy, that's not going on right now. And so nobody's paying those prices. So what we're seeing, the biggest thing I'm noticing so far is just that 15, 20% on top that was being added was added to those asking prices because people wanted to get what their neighbors sold for. But we're seeing that nobody wants to pay those prices. And so we're seeing those asking prices being reduced to a lot closer to where they were earlier in the year, and that is saving people 10 to 20% depending on the area on some of those purchases. So I think there's an opportunity, right, for buyers to get a house for less, but you're also paying a larger payment. On that $1 million mortgage, you're gonna be looking at almost $1,500 more a month. So there is a cost to having a lower price and a higher interest rate, but in the long run, maybe there's an opportunity to get a refinance. So a couple opportunities here, right? Contingency, if you're a move-up buyer, and maybe a reduced price. To go along with these couple opportunities, I also wanted to share a little hope. I think we've seen interest rates here over the past few weeks start to level off more. We've seen interest rates that were approaching the 6s and even into the 6s in some people's cases. Now we're seeing the average for Freddie Mac last week was, as of 7/21, 5.54% for 30-year fixed. And for the same side today, 5.55 Mortgage News Daily, as of 7/26, that was their daily rate survey. So we're seeing rates coming down a little bit from where they were, leveling off a little bit, and I think might be increasing some confidence. I'm seeing that there is a uptick in pending sales compared to new listings. So in King and Snohomish County, 912 new listings, 962 pending sales. So this is the first time I've seen in weeks where we've had more pending sales than new listings. So maybe that's an encouragement to a seller, somebody thinking about selling, but definitely something I'm keeping an eye on. I'm always keeping an eye on what's coming on, what's coming off, right? How many houses are coming on, how many coming off? What does the competition look like, right? What's the landscape? And that's for buyers and for sellers. And I think for a third possible opportunity here, I think it's just the opportunity to buy without the competition. So as a buyer over the past year and a half, at least, it's been really difficult and competitive. It's been 10, 15, 20 offers in a lot of cases on the best houses and the houses that most people want. And even the houses that maybe weren't as desirable still selling super, super quickly. So I think that third opportunity is a chance to buy something without the competition, pick a house that you really like, not feel rushed, right? And include all those contingencies that you've had to, or some buyers have had to really heavily consider removing, things like inspections or financing contingencies. Again, buyers never want to, and it's never advisable to remove those contingencies. But when you're facing a situation where it's either you do that or you don't get the house, I think a lot of people were facing pretty tough decisions here over the last couple years. So if that's the type of situation you were concerned about or didn't want to enter into, this is your chance to be able to purchase a house with a little bit more transparency and without all the competition. So in my opinion, that leaves us with three main opportunities here as a buyer as we're heading into the rest of 2022. I think the first opportunity, again, is the contingency option, maybe being able to buy and then sell. The second opportunity being a reduced purchase price from what people were paying earlier in the year. And that third opportunity being the ability to purchase without as much competition. Thanks so much for watching this video as we talk about the slowdown in the Seattle real estate market, and it clearly is slowing down. And if you want to follow along with my thoughts on a regular basis in the Seattle real estate market, I do a monthly market update. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And if you want to talk more about your situation, maybe you're considering a purchase in the Seattle metro area, please feel free to reach out.